There are stories that sound so unbelievable, so fantastic, that you have to think they're made up. Today, I'm going to tell you one of those stories, and you'll have to figure out whether it's true or a lie. The secret Nazi bunker beneath Berlin. The cold crept through the cracks of the old Berlin tenement like a living thing, searching for warm flesh to sink into. Klaus Brenner felt it in his bones as he stood before the decaying cellar door of the building built in 1900. He stared at the rusted hinges. The house seemed to breathe a slow, menacing wheeze that rose from the depths of its ancient foundations. Through the thin walls, he could hear the eerie groaning of timber beams, as if they were buckling under an invisible weight. October of 1981 had been cold, but this came from within. He was already regretting having agreed to help his 63-year-old neighbor, Mr. Zimmerman, with some heavy boxes in the basement. Klaus, only 38 himself, followed the old man down the worn stone steps. The century-old cellar vaults stretched beneath the entire building, their shadows whispering, shifting like they were alive. Zimmerman moved with the confidence of a man who knew every inch of these corridors. Behind rusted bicycles and musty crates, Klaus spotted a small metal door barely 1 meter by 1 meter. The corroded steel looked like congealed blood, and the heavy padlock clung to it like a dead insect. Zimmerman froze as Klaus pointed to it. "What's in there?" Klaus asked, but the old man just stared at the door as if it were staring back. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the icy air. "Later," Zimmerman muttered, abruptly turning away. His hands trembled as he clumsily pushed a few boxes aside. "I will let you know." And then he fled. Literally fled. His footsteps quickened, turned into frantic, panicked scurrying. Klaus was left alone with the door and a feeling that something terribly wrong, something ancient and secret, was lurking behind that rusted metal. Short break. Here comes the reveal of the last incredible story about Paul, the diver who risked his life and lost it. Well, who guessed it? Truth or fiction? Yes, this unbelievable story, with a very tragic ending, is true and not made up. Now, back to Klaus and his just beginning adventure in the catacombs of Berlin. Deep beneath Berlin's forgotten bones. 2 nights later, Klaus still couldn't sleep. That little door had branded itself into his mind like a glowing iron. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw rusted steel, felt the chill radiating from the black beyond. At 3 a.m., he gave up. Armed with a flashlight and a universal lockpick, he crept down into the basement. The building was quiet, but not the quiet of peace. No, it was the silence of something waiting to pounce. The padlock was older than he'd thought, its mechanics primitive, weakened by time and rust. With a sharp click, it popped open. The sound echoed through the basement like a gunshot. The door swung outward, revealing a blackness so thick his light seemed to vanish into it. A blast of air struck him cold, stale, like it had risen from a tomb. The tunnel was tight, barely shoulder width. The brick walls were damp, slimy to the touch. Klaus crawled forward, his flashlight cast twitching shadows across the ancient bricks. After what felt like forever, just over 4 meters, the tunnel opened into a larger space. The air was different down here. It smelled of time, of secrets, and something else, something unknowable. The room took his breath away. A heavy wooden table stood in the center, surrounded by cold steel chairs, like a meeting had been suddenly interrupted. Steel shelves lined the walls, packed with yellowing files. Maps hung on the concrete walls: Germany, Poland, Russia. Over certain cities, dried red wax marked something, long hardened, long forgotten. And then came the nightmare. 3 skeletons still sat at the table, their skulls slumped forward onto the surface. Tattered scraps of black uniforms clung to their bones, wrapped in webs. Between them lay a thick file folder. Its title made his blood freeze. Plan A. Withdrawal network. Activate only upon total collapse. Beside it, a sealed envelope stamped, "For eyes of Eastern Command only." Where the hell had Klaus ended up? Heart racing, fingers trembling, Klaus opened the envelope. A map of East Germany spilled out, riddled with red markings, underground facilities, storage sites, escape routes. A second sheet, typed in Gothic script, read, "Final directive. In case of downfall, eliminate all witnesses. The network shall endure." Underneath, scrawled in a different ink, "Generation 2 takes over." His hands shook so violently now, he could barely hold the paper. A yellowed photo slipped from the folder. 5 men in black uniforms stared at him, eyes as cold as winter steel. Below one of the faces, handwritten in fading ink, "Hauptsturmführer H. Zimmermann, Berlin Command." The world tilted. That name, the same name as his neighbor, those cold gray eyes, that narrow nose 40 years younger, but unmistakable. Panicking, Klaus shoved the documents back into the folder and crawled toward the exit. The darkness seemed to chase him, reaching, whispering. He burst out of the basement, and Zimmerman was already there, standing at the cellar door, as if he had been waiting. His gray eyes sparkled beneath the dim hallway light. His smile was colder than a grave. "Were you down there, Klaus?" His voice had lost all fragility. It was sharp, precise, a blade. Klaus's mouth was dry. His tongue felt like sandpaper. He couldn't lie. He couldn't speak. He just nodded. "That is most unfortunate," Zimmerman said, stepping closer. "Truly unfortunate." His hands, once frail and trembling, were now calm, strong. "Some doors," he said softly, "are meant to stay closed." The way he said it, it froze Klaus's blood. The next day, the bunker door was gone. Not just closed, gone, bricked over, as if it had never existed. Zimmerman's mailbox? Empty. No name. His doorbell label? Gone. Klaus rang the apartment on the second floor. The door stood ajar. He pushed it open. The apartment was empty. No furniture, no dust. Fresh paint clung to the walls. At the building office, the receptionist blinked at him. "Zimmerman?" she asked, flipping through her records. "No one by that name ever lived here. That apartment's been vacant for 3 months." Klaus was speechless. Other tenants shook their heads. "An old man on the second floor? No, there's no one like that." Klaus began to question his sanity. But the bunker, the memories were too vivid, too real. About 3 weeks later, someone broke into his apartment. The door had been opened expertly. No damage, no splinters. Nothing stolen, except his laptop, cash, jewelry, everything else untouched. The police came, wrote a few things down, left. They didn't seem to care. Klaus started seeing shadows that weren't there. Every old man on the street could be Zimmerman. Paranoia ate away at him like rust on steel. He checked his lock twice, 3 times. Every night, after a month of terror, he moved out. But the dreams followed. Every night, the skeletons. Their jaws clacked, whispering words he couldn't understand. But the meaning? Ominous. 1 year passed. Klaus regained a sense of normalcy. But the curiosity, it never left. It burrowed deep, like a thorn under the skin. He traveled to Prague, dug through archives, libraries, looking for anything that proved the truth. In a dusty basement archive, he found it. A single file from 1952. Thin, unremarkable, buried among thousands. Bunker G, 19, Berlin. Decommissioned and sealed in 1962. Typed in cold machine letters. Below it, handwritten Gothic script. The same style from the bunker. If anyone asks, it never existed. His hands started shaking, just like back at the little metal door. The librarian, a kind old man, with glasses, peered over Klaus's shoulder. "Fascinating file, isn't it?" he said casually. "You're the first in years to ask about that one." His voice was warm, familiar, too familiar. Klaus looked up, paralyzed. Those gray eyes. He knew them. "Good afternoon, Klaus," Zimmerman whispered. "We need to talk." Truth or fiction? The answer comes in a few days, right here, with the next unbelievable story. If you enjoyed this one, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments what you think happened down there. Truth or just fiction?